The Special Duties Unit, nicknamed Flying Tigers, is Hong Kong's main elite paramilitary special operations unit. The SDU is a subdivision of the Police Tactical Unit of the Hong Kong Police Force. Its primary functions include counter-terrorism, hostage rescue, and dealing with crimes which are considered too dangerous for the regular police force to handle. Due to the increasing threat of international terrorism, the British Hong Kong government established the SDU in 1974. At that time, the unit only consisted of around 10 members, using existing police equipment. In 1978, the British SAS sent in a team to evaluate the SDU, which in turn led to considerable change to their operations, including the training of 2 land assault teams and upgrades to their existing equipment. Then again, in 1982, another team was sent over from the British Special Boat Service to set up a water assault team. This unit was disbanded in 2000, with their role being integrated into the SDU. As their training evolved over time, all operatives were required to be trained in both land and water assaults. After the transfer of sovereignty over Hong Kong in 1997, control of the territory was returned to China. The SDU continued to develop training standards and exchanges with other top-tier special force units from around the world, but has since developed a training regime and methods that are very much their own. Those interested in joining the SDU have to complete an 11-day selection course known as Hell Week. This course is held annually and has a success rate of only 25%. From here, applicants are required to complete a 9-month training course that includes weapons handling and marksmanship, tactical movement, unarmed combat, breaching, climbing and roping, combat medicine, and chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear incidents. Between 1974 and 2014, only 383 applicants were successful and have served in the SDU. The identity of the officers in the unit is classified, with only the closest of family members being aware of their identity. The SDU has consistently been listed among the most proficient special forces units in the world. After the reactivation of Team Rainbow in 2015, 2 SDU operators were recruited to bring their skills and expertise to assist in the fight against terrorism on a global scale. These operators were named Ying and Lesion. Siu Mei Lin, codenamed Ying, is an attacking operator in Team Rainbow. Ying comes from a wealthy upper-class family and grew up in the central district of Hong Kong. Life for her was relatively easy growing up, although somewhat boring. Money was never an issue, and she was provided with the best education and had access to a multitude of tutors, which meant she could pursue her interests with ease. Her mother, an enthusiastic government worker, at times was often consumed by the world of politics, and so, for a young girl growing up in a world predominantly surrounded by adults, life was rather dull. So unsurprisingly, when the conversations between the adults started to get serious and repeatedly monotonous, she would take the opportunity to slip away unnoticed. Exploring the city was her only liberation from the mundane and comfortable existence she led. She had the freedom to discover the heart of Hong Kong, its people, and everything it had to offer. The mass transit railway became her most valuable resource, which she used to traverse the city, often choosing at the last second when and where to jump off. And it was in this way she discovered the best way to get to know a city is to take a shot and find the time to let it surprise you. Over the years, Ying started becoming incredibly adept at strategic planning, along with being an accomplished fighter. Her ventures throughout the city via trains had refined her skills in calculating multiple adaptive routes in fractions of a second. Her ambitions to protect others was strong, and becoming a bodyguard seemed to appeal to her nature. So after finishing high school, she promptly joined an elite security service. When an opportunity was presented to Ying to travel to Tel Aviv in Israel and train with the Caracal Battalion, she took it. Ying had her first taste of fieldwork at a predominantly female training facility in Tel Aviv, where she spent 2 years training and serving. There she developed an expertise in firearms and combat driving. Eventually she returned to Hong Kong, where she joined the police force, and then the elite SDU, Flying Tigers. Ying has a limitless sense of adventure and fearless enthusiasm for new experiences. She unapologetically gets excited at the idea of joint operations, and is often one of the first to volunteer. Heavily invested in her career and role in law enforcement, she is often having to be forced to take time off. Ying's experience and exceptional skill had her recognised by Rainbow, and she volunteered to take part in Operation High Sun. Ying and the team successfully delivered the VIP vehicle to its location before returning to HQ. However, there is more to this mission than just that, and although a lot is heavily redacted, we know how these individuals operate, and we can read between the lines. Also involved with this operation were operators Ash from the FBI and Fuse from the Spetsnaz. It's fairly safe to say that their methods are quite different from Ying, who tends to operate in a zero-casualty unit. Ying's experience in close protection detail has allowed her to ensure minimal casualties while leading high-risk VIP and witness protection operations amidst Hong Kong's dense urban population. Whereas Fuse has always been about getting the objective done and breaking down the enemy's defences as quickly and efficiently as possible. To him, he believes his way is the best way, and that he is the best person to lead these ops. Very much a follow me kind of guy, keep your head down and get in and out as fast as possible. However, he insists he is not careless with other people's lives, he's just efficient at what he does. Which is most likely why there was such a severe breakdown in communication between him and Specialist Ying in regards to the risk of multiple civilian casualties, and ultimately what led to their big altercation where Ying believed him to be a questionable asset. She is the sort of person who is always calculating the risks and wants to understand how to wreak havoc on the opposing team and unsettle them, but is not going to do that at the expense of human lives. Ash is the sort of individual who appreciates high-risk, high-reward scenarios, but doesn't tend to voice what level of potential risk to herself or others she thinks is acceptable. Which means, at the time, she may have aligned more with Fuse and his get in and get out approach, rather than Ying and her methods and concerns in regards to the civilian lives. However, Ash is also the sort of person who suffers from the lingering stress of past combat, and often she will dwell on things later, and analyses every misstep, every bad call, and ultimately holds herself personally responsible for the consequences, even in situations where she is not the one calling the shots. Even though she understands that there is never really a situation you can be 100% prepared for, it doesn't stop her from scrutinizing and self-evaluating. So although a lot of this has been heavily redacted in regards to Operation High Sun, it's clear that there was a reasonable amount of tension between Ying and Fuse, and that the quick actions of Ash and her stepping in when she did helped quickly resolve the situation. In 2005, she collaborated with Japan's Special Assault Team during a security operation named Blackjack. It was here that she met Specialist Echo. Their objective was to ensure the protection of Japan's representative during the World Trade Organization's ministerial conference held in Hong Kong. It was around this time that the two became romantically involved with one another. However, they broke up 1 year later. While it's sad that their relationship didn't progress further, it should come as no surprise. Ying is easygoing, blends well with others, takes enjoyment in working in a team, and has an effective way of making people feel comfortable and secure. While on the other hand, Echo has few outside interests other than robotics, and consequently only thinks about improving his own operational efficiency. Those who are aware of their past relationship often believe that when she says, "I knew a guy once, it didn't end well, I broke his drone," that she is discussing Echo, although it's not entirely clear whether she broke it while they were together, or as a consequence of him breaking her heart. Her creative use of flashbangs was recognised during the joint training with the SAS, and it was there she earned the codename Firefly. Ying's Gadget is a mercury and magnesium-based explosive that creates a cluster of blinding flashes. The device can either be fixed in place or thrown like a grenade. Completely non-lethal, it was specifically designed to be used in highly populated areas like Hong Kong, limiting the risk of casualties. Lutza Long, codenamed Lesion, is a defending operator in Team Rainbow. born and raised in Sangwon-no, a small fishing and horticultural village that lies at the northern tip of Junk Bay. He grew up in an impoverished household. Because of this, he too had to work, and so from a very young age spent a number of years working alongside his father in the shipyards. There, they would work together, stripping the old discarded containers that were no longer of use of their raw materials and parts. The work was hard, dirty, and dangerous, as there was often a lot of hazardous materials about. But the long lunch breaks when he and his father would often go fishing, and the spectacular sunrises where the light danced across the water, were invaluable quality time to Lesion that he always cherished. Unfortunately, the long-term repercussions of working around such dangerous substances was evident, and he witnessed a lot of the devastating, lasting effects on his fellow workers. He grew up to have immense respect for hazardous materials, and a deep understanding for their effects on the human body. In a way to provide extra income for his family, he decided to volunteer in the Yunnan and Guangxi provinces, helping to clear mines. It was there that he gained the attention of the Hong Kong Police Department, as they saw his bravery and his ability with disarming the dangerous weapons. From there, he took the opportunity afforded to him, and joined with the Explosive Ordnance Disposal Bureau, or EOD. The specialised unit within the police department is responsible for dealing with all illegal explosive objects, including chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear weapons in Hong Kong. The Bureau is trained and equipped to deal with items both on dry land and underwater, and is called out on average over 1 to 2 times per week. The items they deal with range from illegal fireworks and homemade bombs to large World War II aircraft bombs. Working with the EOD gave Lesion the opportunity for on-site training so he could continue to further specialise in chemistry and forensic-based education. Lesion's knowledge with nuclear radiation, along with his expertise in biological and chemical substances, enabled him to later join Hong Kong's Special Duties Unit, and it was there that he teamed up with SAS operators Smoke and Thatcher on his first ever joint operation. In 2017, he was officially recruited into Rainbow. His past expertise in Hong Kong's CBRN made him the obvious choice during the formation of Rainbow's own CBRN threat unit in 2018. Over the years, he continues to consult with a number of other Rainbow tech experts, and he, along with fellow operators Finker and Lion, often try to implement state-of-the-art solutions into the CBRN unit. Specialist Lesion's teammates have a great deal of respect for him, despite the fact that he can often drop off the radar due to his low-key style. While on an operation, Lesion is intense and focused, and thinks quickly on his feet. In his downtime, he is soft-spoken with a dry sense of humour. Lesion prefers to lead a very minimalistic life, and prefers to spend time on things that give him satisfaction and purpose. Even to this day, he continues to live close by to where he grew up, and volunteers in cleaning up mines in his spare time. His ongoing efforts in working with the underprivileged areas of Junk Bay has been vital in successfully removing tens of thousands of unexploded devices. Lesion doesn't believe in rallying up against things that are beyond his control, and isn't the one to count the scars, both physical and mental. He believes wholeheartedly that the good, and even the bad experiences people face, can help change someone for the better, and that the future can always be shaped into something beautiful. Lesion's Gadget is a hidden toxic mine that was inspired by the sharp punjae sticks used in the Vietnam War. These sticks were used to slow down enemy troops by causing severe infections due to the harsh toxins that were applied. So like these sticks, Lesion's mine injects a toxin that injures and slows down opponents. We may have gotten a little carried away with these last couple of stories. They seem to be getting longer and longer. I can only imagine how long some of the earlier videos, like the FBI, SAS or Spetsnaz would be if we were writing them the same way that we've done these last few. Oh well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!